I've looked forward to this moment. I intend to enjoy it to the full.
Alright, well, I guess I'll watch On Her Majesty's Secret Service then. But before I get into it, I think it's important to talk about some of the background of the movie.
On Her Majesty's Secret Service is the sixth Bond film in the Saltzman Broccoli canonical Bond series we all know and love. And to be fair, this is the movie I would consider to be the black sheep of the bunch in more ways than one. First of all, it was the first movie to change up the actor for Bond. Sean Connery had starred in the 5 previous roles, but felt like he was being typecast in a role and didn't want to be known for only being James Bond. Also, he got to the point of not being on speaking terms with Albert Broccoli, the producer. So this made way for needing a new James Bond. Roger Moore was considered for the role in the next newest Bond movie to be shot, The Man with the Golden Gun, but he had other obligations at the time, so the producers decided to fall back on one of their other scripts, On Her Majesty's Secret Service, instead. George Lazenby was chosen after being seen in his role in the magnum opus, a Fry's Chocolate Cream advertisement.
Wait, what? You mean to tell me that George Lazenby never had a movie role before this?
Alright, let's see here. Ah, yeah. Here it is. Yep. First one.
I can't believe that he landed his first movie role as freaking James Bond. So let's see the ad.
Big fries are coming by. Yeah.
Big fry.
Here comes Big Fry with exotic Big Fry Turkish Delight. Full of Big Fry Eastern promise. Big Fry Turkish Delight. 'Cause Big Fries are coming by.
Big fry.
Well, I'm convinced. Ow.
The weirdness doesn't end there. George Lazenby only did one Bond movie, and then Sean Connery came back for Diamonds Are Forever.
And then, this movie has first-time director Peter Hunt directing the movie. First time for everyone! Who's on first? Well, Peter Hunt and George Lazenby apparently.
And then, and you're not gonna believe this, and then this movie is the one that was chosen to be as accurate to the novel as humanly possible. You heard me right, this is the book in movie form.
And it's said that nearly everything that happened in the book happens in this movie, so let's stop stalling and check out the feature, shall we?
We start off to see that our familiar heroes from MI6 are looking for Bond. He's supposed to be out looking for Blofeld. Instead, we see him driving in beautiful day-for-night English countryside, all while lighting up a cigarette. Yeah, millennials get a lot of flack for how dangerous texting and driving is, but back in the 60s, it was perfectly fine to inhale toxic fumes, all while driving an overpowered muscle car down winding highways. But enough of that, we gotta look at hot chicks on the beach. And here we see the noble and highly endangered Diana Rigg returning to the sea after not finding any suitable mates. But wait, what's this? A George Lazenby is swooping in out of nowhere. And here we see 2 rivals who also vie for the Diana Rigg's attention. But the Lazenby defends his right with such veracity. Okay, enough of that. Diana Rigg drives away and...
This never happened to the other fella.
Really? His second line is a fourth wall joke? And then it's followed by the most generic sounding Bond theme there is, really.
Okay, objectively, this isn't a bad song. It's just really lacking in comparison to every other Bond theme out there. And the credit sequence is boring also. It just clips from the previous movie squeezed into an hourglass with some naked lady silhouettes. I mean, I get it. They wanted to reiterate that this is in fact the same character of Bond and not some other watered down zero-calorie version of Sean Connery. People need to believe that George Lazenby is Bond. So let's shove the best parts of the last 5 movies down everyone's throats. Anyway, I digress. Bond goes to a casino where Diana Rigg, known in the movie as Tracy, is staying. He bails her out of losing a bunch of money at Baccarat. Bond gets invited up to her room where, surprise! She's actually a black man. Everyone with fast motion fighting, with moves like awkward lightning. Oh, but don't forget to try that caviar. That's really important to the story.
Royal Beluga, north of the Caspian.
Turns out that Tracy was actually in Bond's room, and then they do that thing that involves consent.
Oh, please let it involve consent. It's awkward enough rewatching the Sean Connery movies. I don't need this here.
The next morning, he gets taken to a big mob boss man. But first, another fourth wall break.
Get it? Because it's Bond, and Bond was in Goldfinger. I would have never guessed!
The mob boss guy is actually Tracy's father, and he may have info on where Blofeld is, but it comes at a terrible price. He has to court his daughter.
Wait, what? That's like the exact opposite you'd expect, because it's normally the overprotective father who wants to kill the interloping boy.
But Draco seems excited to potentially have Bond as a son-in-law. Fair enough.
You overestimate me, Draco. She's very attractive, but what you ask is not for me.
Listen to me. On the day you marry her, I'll give you a personal dowry of £1 million.
But first, let's go back to MI6. M tells Bond he's off the case. Bond has a minor bitch fit, tries to resign, but gets put on leave instead.
2 weeks leave.
Well, you didn't really want to resign, did you?
So what does Bond do? He goes and tries to woo Tracy so that Draco would give up what he knows about Blofeld, of course.
I smell a montage!
Tracy, I was always taught that mistakes should be remedied. Especially between friends. Or lovers.
Until we dance into the fire, that fatal kiss is all we need. Dance into the fire, to fatal sounds of broken dreams. Dance into the fire, that fatal kiss is all.
So now that that's out of the way, Bond can finally start looking for Blofeld again.
Oh good, and we're only 38 minutes into the movie.
Bond has to go into this lawyer's office to steal a folder, and this is where they try to create suspense by faking that the lawyer will catch him, but he doesn't. Bond gets the folder leading to Blofeld, and also a Playboy magazine because porn. Then Bond goes back to M and surprises him with his new intel, and then goes over his plan to find Blofeld in lots of details.
This is a photostat copy of a letter addressed to our College of Arms in the City of London.
With the request that they undertake to establish the Beauchamp's claim to the title.
And to Hilary Bray, he's the sable basilisk of the college, has replied to Gumball suggesting that he should meet the Beauchamp in person.
I've already taken the liberty, sir, working with the college on this, using an examination of my own family tree as cover. I've also been reading up on the technical side of heraldry.
Then Bond goes to a genealogy academy or something and explains his plan to the guy he'll be disguised as.
Alright, so let's recap what's happening so far. Blofeld wants to become a lord or something so he can take over the world? That sounds dumb. Let's move on.
Bond gets to take a sleigh ride and helicopter ride up to the Alps where we finally see Blofeld's secret mountaintop lair, a restaurant, actually a lab that specializes in allergies. So wearing his finest kilt, Bond goes and meets all the patients of this allergy clinic who are all, surprise surprise, beautiful women, including a lovely dinner scene where plot happens.
The Heralds' College, or College of Arms, consists of 13 members of the royal household, appointed by the sovereign to superintend armorial, genealogical...
Oh my god, this is so boring! Please, do something important! Anything important! Anything important whatsoever! I don't care!
And we're only halfway through the movie! I'm so bored I could... Turns out the genealogist guy dubbed the voice for Bond in these scenes. And George Lazenby was in the Australian Special Forces.
Alright, you see this movie? I'm so bored that I'm pulling off inane details from the Wikipedia page. Do something interesting!
Okay, Bond gets to meet Blofeld, or Beauchamp as he's going by in this movie. This time, Blofeld is played by Telly Savalas, but the weirdest part is, they don't seem to recognize each other.
If you recall, and you only live twice, they met face to face for the very first time. So, continuity error!
That was originally going to be corrected by saying Bond got plastic surgery, but that was scrapped because it wasn't true to the novel, I guess. In any case, I'm still bored. Do something!
Do something! Do something! Do something!
Okay, Bond is breaking out of his room. Maybe now he'll find out that Blofeld is actually Blofeld and go into the room with that horny chick from dinner. And then sex scene her into an acid trip. Oh wait, That's supposed to be what cured her of her allergies? Hypnosis?
This requires some further testing.
I feel awful. Oh, God.
Hey, this movie says that your allergies are all in your head, so get to being cured already.
That's not remotely how that works.
Mark, you okay?
What the hell?
No. No. No! No!
So back in Bond's room, another girl appears and Bond uses the exact same lines as before to seduce her.
You are funny, pretending not to like girls.
Well, I don't usually. You're not usual.
But I think you do not like girls, Hilly.
Usually I don't. But you're not usual.
How else are we supposed to know that Bond is charming, right?
And 75 minutes into the movie, the first gunshot is fired, but not at Bond. No, that would be more interesting. Instead, it's at his colleague, who we barely see throughout the movie. So Bond goes prowling again, and then, surprise, it's the plot.
I told you. Fancy meeting you, Fräulein.
Finally!
Bond gets captured because he was stinking with his dick.
You making a move with my girl?
No, sir.
If only it were that easy. Instead, it's Christmas now.
But it's not even Halloween yet. Why they gotta ramrod Christmas into this? Ah!
In any case, Blofeld reveals his plan. He's going to use the girl to release some sort of virus that causes sterility in crops and animals. There. It took me like 5 seconds to say that. How come it takes the movie like 20 minutes to do it?
Since last summer has been the confection of a certain virus Omega.
Oh, you mean the Omega virus, that computer virus that takes over a space station and threatens to destroy all life on Earth, and it's up to 4 commandos to take it out. That's what I'm talking about.
But instead, it's all about sterility. Whatever. Can we get to the part where Blofeld puts Bond in the easily escapable room? Oh, good. And after 3 escape attempts, I counted, also with some of the worst fast motion in the movie, I might add, Bond escapes, gets some ski gear, and what's this? An actual action scene?
No, this is terrible. Take it away!
We get some lovely day for night skiing, and even Blofeld joins in on the fun.
All right, we'll head him off at the precipice.
Head them off at the pass? I hate that cliche.
Bond makes it to the village and... holy hell, a wampa!
You know what I miss? Tracy?
I mean, she was only the focus for like the first 40 minutes, so it's only fair if... oh, hey, I got my wish. So they make their escape, but the bad guys aren't far behind. So now we've evolved from ski chase to car chase. They even get into a stock car race.
Looks like we've hit the rush hour.
Well, that's just silly.
But not as silly as the bad guy's car flipping over, exploding, and then everyone inside escapes without a scratch. So our heroes find a barn for the night. Oh, and don't forget the consensual stuff.
Oh, there we go. That's the good stuff.
The next day, there's another ski chase.
He had lots of guts.
Boo! 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 Boo!
An avalanche happens, Bond and Tracy get swallowed up by it, and that's the end of the movie.
A grave deep enough, I think, to prevent even 007 from walking.
Oh, never mind. Turns out when you get caught in an avalanche, you get a light dusting of snow on you and then you'll be found immediately. So Tracy is kidnapped by Blofeld and Bond is back in London talking to M. Apparently something politics won't allow them to take out Blofeld.
Well, that seems like the end to me. Bond can't do anything, M can't do anything. What else is there?
Oh yeah, Tracy's father, Draco, has his own Air Force and strike team. They attack Blofeld's hideout, but what is the risk factor here, George?
I tell you, this building is unsafe!
Exactly. Anyway, the attack goes well, they rescue Tracy, and Blofeld tries to escape via bobsled? Really?
Well, this is it. This is the final fight. We know that Bond's gonna survive, but what about Blofeld?
He gets stuck in a tree. That's it.
He's branched off.
So that leaves us off with one of the most cliched of cliches, the wedding ending.
Well, that's nice and good, but wait, there's a couple minutes left apparently?
It's Blofeld. Blofeld.
Well, that sucks. A lot.
What the hell? You make Tracy a very likable character and then you kill her off? Who do you think you are, George R.R. Martin?
And that's on Her Majesty's Secret Service. It's the Bond film that I like the least. But can you believe that I'm in the minority with that opinion?
Seriously, but I'm not saying that I hate it, I'm saying it doesn't hit all the targets of a Bond film. It's too drawn out, it has too many plot points that could be omitted, and the main plot isn't even fleshed out a lot. All that happens with the main plot is Blofeld saying he's going to infect stuff with a virus and that he's prepared a demonstration, but nothing is shown to prove that. Sure, the editing techniques are nice, the casting is awesome, the acting is great, but overall the whole film is lacking because it takes so long for anything interesting to happen. It feels more like an extended edition of a Bond film, honestly, except the scenes in between the extended scenes are non-existent. Can you imagine if that had been the case for Lord of the Rings?
And yes, I said this before that the movie was supposed to be as close to the book as possible, but it feels like it was made because someone was like, oh, the book is so much better than the movies on those previous movies, and then they took that to heart.
Despite all that, the movie was pretty successful and George Lazenby was offered a 6-movie deal. He turned it down because his agent convinced him that the idea of Bond wouldn't survive in the more liberated 70s.
And I'd like to imagine if George Lazenby remained as Bond, but one thing's for certain, if he was to do that, Roger Moore would have never been Bond.
So here are some things I would change. In the beginning, have Bond incidentally rescue Tracy, who has been kidnapped by Blofeld's men, in order to ransom her father. Draco would then be grateful for this and give Bond the info on what he knows about Blofeld. Tracy begins to show affection for Bond since he came to her rescue. Bond then begins to unravel Blofeld's plan. The girls being hypnotized turn on Bond on Blofeld's command, so he has to refrain from hurting them. Bond's colleague can suffer the same fate as the girls to show how easily Blofeld can manipulate people with this hypnosis. Bond then has to make the choice to either save or kill his friend. Either one works here, honestly. Bond uncovers the rest of the plot, but Blofeld already has his demonstration ready and actually uses it. And then from when Bond escapes to the ending of the movie is pretty much okay.
Wouldn't that be a more interesting take on the movie? And I'd like to think that just because a movie adaptation of a book is accurate, doesn't mean that it's good. So if you'll excuse me, I've got to go fix my TV from being controlled by Blofeld. Bye-bye.